Today, we are going to tackle probably one of the most requested videos I get on Instagram, and that is how do I detail the interior of my car or truck? A lot of you guys have come to me with questions about, filthy seats, filthy carpets, and how to make your interior look like new. So today, we are going to be taking a truck that belongs to my friend, taking it from absolutely filthy to looking like brand new. Let's do this. So all of my trucks were clean, so I hit up a friend, Marshall, who just got back from a mountain bike trip in Utah. It was him and a couple of other friends in his truck for about 10 days out in the desert in Utah, and the interior was absolutely filthy. Aside from the carpet being dirty, the seats were dirty, they had grease stains, they had dirt stains on them. Every little air vent was filled with dust, every little nook and cranny was filled with dust, the steering wheel literally had like mud on it. I mean, this thing was absolutely filthy, and it was a perfect example for you guys to show how you can take an interior from just being disgusting to perfect in a couple of hours with the right tools. So today, to be doing this, we're gonna be using all products from Adams Polishes. I've been using their stuff for a long time. They support me. They're an awesome brand. Now we're gonna need a bunch of different products for them, so I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through what I used on this truck, and you can kind of decide what you wanna use in doing your own personal project. So to start with, we're gonna be using the leather and interior cleaner on all the plastic and leather surfaces. We're gonna be using the carpet and upholstery cleaner on all of the carpet and seats and everything like that. We're also gonna be using the detail spray. We're gonna use that to be cleaning the gauge cluster, anything that's like smooth piano black plastic, screens, things like that. We're also gonna be using a carpet cleaning brush. Now this is a special brush that lets you really scrub seats, carpet, anything cloth. It'll also work really well on leather, plastic. This is a key tool in really getting a lot of the dirt and grime out of the truck. Now the other thing we're gonna be using is an assortment of brushes. There are detailing specific brushes that come in different sizes. They're really, really soft, and they help you get into little nooks and crannies, panel gaps, and things like that. If you don't have those, you are welcome to steal your girlfriend or wife's makeup brushes. They actually work really well. They're really soft, and they come in a variety of different sizes and shapes. So you can actually help get those into little nooks and crannies. I actually use a bunch of makeup brushes for mine because they work really well and they're pretty cheap. Now for the conditioning process, you're also gonna need a couple of products. The Adams Interior Detailer, that's a special detail spray basically for the inside of your car. One of the big things about that is it has anti-static properties, so dust doesn't stick. We're also going to be using the leather conditioner. Again, I'm going to be using that on the steering wheel, on the center console here, any place where there's leather. If you have full leather seats, you're going to be using this on your entire seat. But it's a really nice product for conditioning once you've cleaned everything up. With all that out of the way, and you have a bunch of microfiber rags to get the job done, let's dig into this truck. Now you're gonna start by vacuuming. Vacuuming is a key part of this process. You're basically gonna vacuum as much of the dirt as you possibly can out of the truck. The more you can do with the vacuum, the better. So definitely take your time, use multiple attachments, get in all the little nooks and crannies of the seat and the carpets, pull the floor mats out of the truck. I always pull the floor mats out. That lets me shake them out, vacuum them upside down, really get a lot of the dirt and grime out of the floor mats before I start spraying any of the cleaning product on them. This is a key part. You really want to take your time to vacuum as much as you can. Now, once I've vacuumed the whole truck, I go ahead and dig into the carpet and upholstery. So I'm going to grab the carpet and upholstery cleaner, and you're going to spray it on the cleanest parts first, working your way down to the floors, which are going to be your dirtiest areas. So I usually start at the top of the seats and work my way down. What you're going to do is spray a light mist over the seat so that it's wet but not fully saturated. And then any spot where there is like a stain or a grease mark, that's where you're gonna wanna saturate it a little bit more. Nothing crazy, but you do definitely wanna saturate the fabric. You're gonna wanna grab the brush that I talked about earlier, that's the carpet and upholstery cleaning brush, and you're gonna wanna use that brush to agitate the fabric. You're gonna use that to really kind of work that spray into the fabric, loosen up all the dirt and grime, and then let it sit for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Once that happens, you're gonna grab another microfiber rag, and you're gonna start blotting and rubbing, and you're gonna start to see all of the dirt that was in that fabric coming off onto the microfiber rag. If you're using white, it'll be really apparent. You're gonna see exactly what's coming off your seats onto your rag, and it's pretty impressive to see how dirty a clean looking seat is. I know even in my 3rd gen that normally has very clean seats, I do this every couple of months, and I'm blown away by what comes out of the seats. So this is a really important process, and if you see yourself still getting more, then you may want to repeat the process, right? And scrub a little bit more, add a little bit more carpet and upholstery cleaner, and go from there. Now on the carpets, you're probably going to want to saturate them a little bit more than you did the seats. Again, just spray everything down, go to town with the brush, and then come back in with a microfiber rag. I kind of like to wrap it around my hand like in a fist and then scrub hard. I like to put a good bit of downward pressure on there because one, it helps pull the moisture out of the carpet or the seats, and two, it really helps you get in there and actually get all of the dirt and everything that's bonded to the fibers of the seats and the carpet out. A lot of this really takes just work, right? The products work really well, they do their job, but you still have to get in there, you still have to clean everything, and you still have to work all those small little areas. Now, once you've tackled the seat, it's time to move on to all the plastics, the leather, all the rest of the parts of the interior. This is the part I actually find to be the most fun for some reason. I love cleaning in all the little nooks and crannies. It's called detailing for a reason, right? It lets you get into all the little weird spots and stuff. So obviously you're gonna wanna go after your high wear areas, right? Like your armrest, your center console, your steering wheel, things like that. But this leather and interior cleaner also works really well to get into little nooks and crannies, things like your turnstock, your buttons on your steering wheel, little things like that, and that's where those brushes are gonna come in handy. So I start with the big stuff first. So let's say like the door cards, right? We'll start with spraying down the door card, and then we're gonna use that brush again, just like we used in the seats. And we're gonna use that to work the textured plastic. This will really get all the oil and dirt and grime out of that textured plastic. You can use it to work into little cracks, and you can even get it into things like your window controls and stuff like that. Now for the window buttons, I also like to use those makeup brushes or detailing brushes. You can get those in there, work into little nooks and crannies, get the dust out of those cracks, and it'll really pull out a lot of the oil buildup and things like that. This is where you really see that leather interior cleaner do its job. You'll start to see kind of like a brown color run off after you spray it. You'll really see it breaking down the oils and dirt and grime that's kind of built up on everything in the truck. Once you have the big stuff taken care of, that's when you go into the little detailed areas, right? So you get the whole bulk of the steering wheel, you scrub in all of the little, the stitching on the inside of it, things like that. And then you go back in with the brushes and get the little nooks and crannies between the buttons, the space in between the center part of the steering wheel where the airbag is and the rest of the wheel. All those little small spots are what really takes an interior detail from basic to super nice. So just take your time, go through every little thing. One key thing you want to avoid is if there is like a shiny, smooth plastic, you don't want to use that brush on there. That's where you're going to try and use the soft microfibers or the detail spray to really get in there. Now, once you've tackled all of the plastics, the next thing I like to do is go after the screens and the smooth piano black plastics I was just mentioning. So for those, I like to use either waterless wash and detail spray. And the reason being is that they're really easy to scratch. So things, especially like your gauge cluster, those are really, really easy to scratch. That plastic is really soft for some reason. So something like the detail spray or the waterless wash will encapsulate the dust that's on there. And then you're gonna take your softest microfiber and just gently do one wipe as you rotate it. So you use only clean towel, and then flip it over and go in and clean up any residue that's left. That's gonna gently wipe off any of the dust that's on there without scratching it. So that's a really key thing. I see a ton of scratch gauge clusters. You want to be really careful with what rags you're using and what you're spraying on there so you don't scratch it. Now, after you're absolutely satisfied with everything being clean, everything looks perfect, you're going to want to go in and condition things. So this is where the leather conditioner is going to come in handy, and the interior detailer. So the interior detailer is going to go on everything plastic. Anything like the door cards, the dashboard, your center console, all that stuff is going to get the interior detailer. And like I mentioned earlier, what makes this stuff cool is its anti-static properties, so that dust doesn't stick to it the next time. So basically the next time you go to clean your truck, nothing sticks to it and it makes it easier to wipe it off. This is not like one of those detail sprays that you see where the whole inside of the car is sticky and slimy and shiny. This stuff doesn't really leave any residue. It looks just like new plastic. Maybe it's a little bit darker and richer in tone, but definitely not shiny, definitely not goopy or sticky. This is really high quality stuff, so I really like this. On the leather, you're gonna wanna use the leather conditioner, again, just using some sort of applicator to apply it and then wipe off any residue. So places like the steering wheel, things like that, you can go in and do that leather conditioner. Now the final touch is gonna be cleaning the glass. I like to save this for last because it's really easy to overspray some of the interior detailer or bump a rag against the glass. So the glass is the absolute last thing I do, but it does make a big difference in the interior detail. So we are going to be using the Adams glass cleaner and the special Adams glass towels. You don't have to use those glass towels, but I will say they really do get an amazing streak-free result, and I can't get as good of a finish without using those towels. So I really do like those. What you're gonna do is lightly mist the window, just barely, a couple of sprays, maybe 2 big sprays for the windshield, 1 for the side windows. And you're gonna go in a crosshatch pattern. So vertical strokes and then horizontal strokes, flipping the rag in between. That's gonna get you a crystal clear windshield, free of any of the, like grime that tends to build up on there. A lot of that is off-gassing of the plastics. So we'll get rid of all that oily residue on the inside of the windshield, inside of the side windows, and the rear window, so it's crystal clear glass. All right, well, there you have it. Marshall was happy with this truck. I'm happy with this truck, and hopefully this video helped you guys figure out how to detail your own trucks. This is something that I try and do pretty frequently. Basically, the longer you let it go, the worse it's gonna be. But if you do it maybe once every 2 weeks, it's not a big deal. Maybe it takes like 30 minutes to clean the interior of your truck. If you wait 2 months, it's gonna take you all day. So the more you do this, the less time it takes, the easier it is. And if you use the right products, it makes the whole process a lot easier. So if you have any questions, weird materials, things like that, leave them in the comments below. I will happily help you guys figure out what you need to get the interior of your truck clean. If you have any other video ideas, things that you guys want to see me detail or whatever else, let me know. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you on the next video.